and good day. So today I have prepared a video that I think many of us will like because I've picked my very favorite Wattpad stories that include members of One Direction. Now, at first I wanted to pick 5 of them, but sadly I only managed to pick 4 because I didn't want to repeat authors or the books that I've already mentioned. At least these are the very best of best that I have read on Wattpad, and I don't want to recommend anything that would be less than 5 stars. So without further ado, this is my pick of my favorite One Direction fanfiction stories on Wattpad. So the first story I want to mention is from the author I have mentioned before. She works under the name of Queen Ozzy, and I've already talked about Monster, which is a story about Harry Styles, and it's absolutely amazing. One of the best things I have read on Wattpad ever, and if this book is ever published, I'm definitely going to stand in a line to get it. Now, she also published a second part of the story, which is called Angel. I haven't got to read it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. The story is about a stalker who's Harry actually, and he basically made his life a mission to protect this girl, but he does it in a very unhealthy way. So he basically ends up kidnapping her, and it's a lot about Stockholm Syndrome, and it's very realistic. That's what I should say. It's very realistic because at first when she's kidnapped you literally feel her fear, and it's so amazing. I couldn't put it down, and if I had a little bit of time I would definitely read Angel immediately. But anyway, that's not the book I wanted to talk about, but if you haven't seen my previous video, now you know that Monster is amazing and you should check it. The story is called Unhuman, and once again it's about Harry Styles, but the story is actually from the future. So in this story, when you turn 18, you basically become a property of government, so you can no longer decide anything about your life, like anything. This is about a girl who is supposed to turn 18 very soon, and she decides that she cannot live this kind of life. Everything's really beating her head. That's when she meets a guy who isn't actually a human, who is experiment, and he's very unhuman. He's kind of a robot, but not really. Like, I don't really understand robots, so I'm sure that it has a name, but you know, he kind of has emotions, but not really. It's like at some point he's better human, and at some point he's worse human. So he's like this weird type of experiment, and he got away, and they basically meet on the way, and what happened is that they start traveling together, and they become a part of this huge underground movement who wants to start rising against the government, and it's going to be very complicated. And this is her old story. It's not as good as Monster, I would say, but it was still amazing, and definitely 5 stars for me, like, because that's kind of story I like. I really like dystopian stories, so if you like dystopian stories and something with a hint of Hunger Games, I think you will like it. Next story is the story I have actually mentioned before, but not in my Wattpad recommendations. I think that that's where I mentioned Little Shy Ariel by Belle Watson. And today I want to recommend another amazing book from our Princess series, and it's called Brave Belle. And as I said before, it's one of my favorite Beauty and the Beast retelling ever, not just from Wattpad. It's so amazing. So this is a story about Liam Payne. Basically in the story there isn't a physical transition into a beast, but there is a psychological transition, which makes it kind of even more interesting. So basically Liam used to be this really kind guy, but he turned into a beast, and he really just gets sucked into this life as a famous singer, and he became kind of mean. The recording company and management don't no longer know what to do, so they decide to hire him a girlfriend, which he requests a girlfriend, but they decide to pick someone who could work with him and who would make him a little bit better. So one of the guys who works in the recording company is actually Belle's father. He really needs to get this one amazing young singer because he knows that she would help him again, because lately he's been only producing artists that didn't really hate it. So he knows that this one would be really amazing, but he needs to get her, and in order to do that he promises Simon Cowell to give him basically his daughter as a girlfriend for Liam Payne. That may sound really weird, but trust me, it's amazing. So basically she is teacher in primary school, and she treats him as one of her students. So when he does something wrong, she made sure he knows it. So that's so amazing. Like, it's funny, it's interesting, and after a while you really start loving all the characters that are in the story, because really the only villain in this story is Liam himself. But anyway, they both signed a deal about being together for 3 months, I think, and then they can break up. But of course they become friends throughout this time, and Liam actually starts making progress. So what's going to happen when the 3 months are over? The next story I have picked is also about Liam Payne, and this story is written by someone whose Wattpad name is Perks of Being a Weirdo, which is such a cool name. If someone can come up with such a great Wattpad name, you should read his stories, okay? So this book is part of Inspiration series. It's called Fix You, and it starts with this terrible accident where Liam gets hit by a car. He ends up in a hospital. His spine is damaged, and there is a possibility that he is not going to walk ever again. And the story is actually written in point of view of his doctor, and she's still not really used to keeping distance between her and her patients, so she gets really close with Liam, but it just breaks her inside to know that this amazing, talented, kind guy is never going to walk again, probably ever. It's very heartbreaking. I won't tell you how it ends, and of course I don't want to spoil anything. It's more like companion series, so you don't really need to read anything that comes before, but if you want to do it, because she's an amazing writer. If it's she, I think it's she. And then the last story I want to recommend is actually about Larry Stylinson. If there are Larry shippers, this is for you. And I just want to ask you, before I start talking about this book, please don't put any hateful comments onto this video. If you do, I'm going to delete them, because there is no place for hate on my channel. So like, don't you even dare insulting Larry shippers, and the other way around. So no hate for Eleanor shippers, or anyway, it's none of our business who the guys want to date. So I know that Larry Stylinson is kind of a controversial team lately, and no, not just lately, like lately a few years. Please, no hate for anyone. I recommended this as a fiction, of course, and because it's a book I have enjoyed. So yeah, duh. It's written by Larry Lashton, and this author actually published tons of stories about Larry and 5 Seconds of Summer, guys. I haven't read many about 5 Seconds of Summer, but I have read Clubs of Misfits, which is one of the best things I have read on Wattpad. It was so realistic. Again, I've recommended it before, so I won't be talking about this, plus this is a video about One Direction. So if you're a Larry shipper, go there and you're going to find tons of stories. Like, it's crazy how many stories Andrea written. It's crazy, really crazy. This is a story about Louis, who is a famous football player, and about Harris, who is a famous singer and who actually performs at one of the matches. Yeah, then it's really fast, and maybe it is not like the best things she have written. I've definitely read better stories from her, but somehow this is so fluffy and cute that you just end up loving it. It's amazing. So that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and I will see you soon. Bye!